What is that you got there, Dan? This is the House of Representatives bill, May 2025, also called the Big Beautiful Bill by Donald Trump. This is the bill that's just come out. It is some 1,116 pages long. And I'm going to download it now because I love downloading stuff. Put that in my downloads. It's called One Big even the file, look at the file comes up with the One Big Beautiful Bill Act full bill text. Okay, so let's go into that. Okay, so that download is complete. Now we're going to come over here. Don't mind this. This is my course I'm taking by Robert Shiller over at Yale. He's a good guy. Knows a lot about economics. That's for sure. So we'll get that video out of the way, and we'll go into Notebook LM. Okay, and we'll open Notebook, and we'll create a new notebook, and we'll upload the source. What is that source that we're going to upload? What do you think it's going to be, Dan? It's going to be the download. It's going to be One Big Beautiful Bill. Let's open that up, and we'll download that as the source. So now in Notebook, it's downloading or uploading rather the Big Beautiful Bill book, bill PDF, a book. This text up here will probably change at the top. I mean, the audacity that you have to call this the One Big Beautiful Bill is ridiculous. And this middle section will change in a moment as soon as the source is defined. So this is a AI, and the source is the One Big Beautiful Bill. Okay, so there it's changing now. Federal Relief and Modernization Act. So that's its proper name. Let's scroll down a bit and let's create a mind map for it. Okay, mind map will appear over here, down in this area at the bottom. The other thing we'll do is we'll generate a podcast about the bill. Okay, so the podcast is generating, mind map is generating. Okay, mind map is done. Let's have a look at the mind map. So the mind map starts with the title of the bill. Shrink it down a bit. And then it's got all of the stuff here. National defense, education provisions, energy, homeland security, regulatory and transparency, miscellaneous. Let's look at tax provisions first because that's the top one. I have no idea. We're doing this together. This is the first time I've done this. Retirement saving enhancements. These are all of the things. Okay. What else we got in this? We got Medicaid in here. Whoa, swing. Okay, so we got all of these things that are part of this great big beautiful bill, as Donald Trump calls it. Okay. We're just going to short circuit this, close that down, and we'll wait for the podcast to be created. But while we're waiting for the podcast to be created, we can add some stuff in here. Let me just hang on. I'll pause this. Resume, and just for fun, let's try that again. Okay, there we go. I don't know. I came up with something else. How much is this going to cost the taxpayers of America? I don't know. I just put that in, for fun, and we'll just treat it like we were putting something in ChatGPT. The other option, of course, is to take this, put it into ChatGPT, and ask all the questions that you want of it. I want something that's a little more defined, and I guess more of a vacuum approach to the whole thing. I guess maybe a more logical question would have been, how much are the United States going to spend on on aid? How much are they going to spend on? How much are they going to cut from Medicare? This is going to go on for some time. Enhancing life of quality, over $7.2 billion for barracks. Okay. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to tell it to be an analyst. I'm going to shorten its response. I wish there was a microphone here that I could fill out, but while we're waiting for microphones and stuff, it's still creating a podcast, and I'll be able to go into that podcast and ask it any question that I want. But in the meantime, I'm going to ask how much it's going to cut from Medicaid. Pause. And hopefully we'll get a shorter answer that's more economic analyst based. I just asked it how much is going to cut from Medicaid. And of course there is no simple way of really doing this. Well, okay, I can highlight all kinds of stuff. Modifying costs. With these provisions, describe mechanisms intended to reduce federal expenditure on Medicaid and CHIP by addressing eligibility. The sources do not provide a specific amount or estimate the total savings cuts these changes are projected to achieve. They focus on how spending will be controlled. Oh yeah, okay. So anyways, the podcast is done.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving headfirst into...
Okay, for just the sake of what these podcasts are, they're called deep dives. That's why it said welcome to the deep dive.
A really massive piece of legislation. The full text of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act.
Yeah, and when you say massive, you're not kidding.
Now, so I'm gonna make a video about this, but I want like that just has this playing, but I'm gonna use the interactive mode. I want to ask it a question here. Let's go to full screen. Okay, we'll play it.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving headfirst into a really massive piece of legislation. Oh wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
I'm really curious at how much this aims to cut Medicaid.
That's a really insightful question. It's true that when you go through this bill, there are definitely several areas that suggest a move towards more restrictions and tighter controls on the Medicaid program.
What's fascinating here is that it's not necessarily framed as outright cuts in all areas. Instead, what we're seeing are changes to eligibility, enrollment processes, and how payments are made.
Okay, let's unpack this a little. You mentioned eligibility. For example, there's that new requirement for states to check the Death Master file regularly to make sure...
Pause that. So it's wonderful how much this thing now is talking about just the eligibility for Medicaid. So I've redirected the entire podcast. That's pretty cool. Anyways, I want to ask another question about how much they're going to spend on defense.
Providers are still alive.
Right, and if we connect... Oh, yeah.
How much are they planning to spend on defense? Is that defined in this bill?
That's a really important question given current events. And yes, absolutely, the bill details quite a bit about defense spending.
What's fascinating here is the sheer scope of it. It's not just one big number, but rather a breakdown of where those funds are intended to go.
Okay, let's unpack this. Right at the beginning in Title II, it lays it...
Yeah, okay. So I guess the real thing is how much is this going to cut taxes for the wealthy?
That's a really direct question. It gets right to the heart of how this bill might affect different income levels.
What's interesting here is that the bill has several components that could impact wealthier individuals, though cut might not be the most precise word for all of them.
Okay, let's unpack this. One key part is the extension of the increased estate and gift tax exemption amounts.
What's fascinating here is that this provision allows wealthier individuals to pass on more of their assets without being subject to these taxes.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This extension was already
Donald Trump can give his kids stuff.
That way beyond its original expiration date.
So while it's not a new cut, it prevents a potential increase in taxes for those with substantial estates.
Exactly. It maintains the current higher exemption level.
This raises an important question about the long-term impact on wealth transfer and government revenue.
Now, if we connect this to some other areas...
So anyways, if you wanted to, you could download this by going to the budget.house.gov or just do a search for Big Beautiful Bill.pdf. You could go to notebook.lm, or notebooklm rather, notebooklm.google.com, and you can upload it, create your own virtual space here, ask questions about the bill, all the things that I'm sure a lot of Americans are wondering about. The reason I made this bill was more to highlight the features of this Google tool. I'll make another video that uploads just the audio for the deep dive. I'm out of time. Sorry, America, but you're going down the tubes fast.